Nothing bothers me more than when Deepwoken players are against good additions to the game because it doesn't fit the lore. Deepwoken lore is really stupid and makes no sense most of the time, so I'm going to explain why you lore freaks shouldn't be caring so much about lore and should care more about the game. First of all, instruments, recently introduced into Deepwoken. However, I remember saying putting instruments into the game, and a ton of lore freaks said that they wouldn't fit into lore. The reasoning behind it, because all magic is channeled through the song. In Deepwoken, bells only play one note of the song and they're really powerful. A guitar, a basic instrument if enchanted with the song, could be turned into a weapon of mass destruction because it could play 6 notes of the song at the same time. Like, are you being serious? A guitar, if imbued with power of the song, can be turned into a weapon of mass destruction. So I can just like bring a guitar to Lapis with how easy it is to put enchants onto things, and then I get an on-command nuke? That's stupid. That doesn't even make sense. Did you guys even like think about how that's like just really dumb in general? Like, just the lore itself is just dumb. And another dumb lore thing is the Scroom integration. They didn't want to make Scrooms a race because it wouldn't fit into Deepwoken lore, but Rogue Lineage and Deepwoken both have multiple beings capable of interdimensional travel easily. So why can't they just bring Scrooms into the Deepwoken universe using interdimensional travel? Like, Big Hoss can freely travel between K and Gaia and everywhere else, and he's strong enough to kill billions of people and do an intergalactic axe kick. So why can't he just like open a portal and bring all the Scrooms? Or maybe like Prince Pinky could come back for an event, and he came back to save his people, so he evacuated them all into the Deepwoken world. I don't know, just like, why did it have to be the mushroom costume? That's stupid. Another weird thing is about how, like, if Yun Shul were to wake up, everyone's eardrums would just burst and their eyes would explode and everyone would die. Like, what if I just, like, go down to the depths and I wish for Yun Shul to wake up? So could I just end the world like that? Just like, hey man, wake up. I bring an alarm clock down there, just like, wake him up. Everyone dies? You tell me I could just end the world like that? And the reasoning for not being able to use water magic is just as dumb. Water magic isn't usable because in the game Deepwoken, people are trying to fight against the living force, which is the tides of the ocean, and against their cities sinking into the depths and stuff. So apparently because water is evil, nobody can control it, I guess. Why exactly is the water evil? Like, you could say that maybe an evil force is controlling the water, but the fact that the tides themselves are a living force imbued with the song doesn't really, like, why? What does that even mean? And it makes even less sense when you think about ice and frost straw. Water and ice are chemically identical, right? Freezing is a physical change, meaning the properties of water and ice, excluding their state, are all identical. So why can't a frost straw user just bend water? And I guess the argument because it's solid could be brought up, but that doesn't make sense because water and ice are equally dense and take up the same amount of mass if they're the same amount. You know, it's dumb. Also, when we really think about Deepwoken's lore development, what does any of it actually mean? Mankind started out and immediately, to our knowledge, located the song and was able to get it, but this clearly can't be accurate because Ken Carson didn't exist in that year. Regardless, the song is present in all beings, and I think this might be because our vocal cords are maybe considered capable of playing notes of the song. So this could mean that 1, talking is magic, and 2, if talking is magic, why can't I breathe fire? That's just like my own take on things, but could be brought into the game, and it's probably no dumber than lots of the stuff in the game's lore. And just a little bit about the lore. Iron Sing itself is supposed to be an attunement used mostly for industrial development and creation. Iron Sing is seen as not very suited for warfare. Ironically, the attunement in lore not supposed to be suited for warfare is literally the strongest PvP attunement in the game and is absolutely suited for warfare. Now let's just go back to the tides for a second. The tides were sent as a punishment for mankind because humanity was overusing the song and magic. But can we get real for a second? How are you going to give humans magic and expect them not to abuse that? On top of that, are you saying that it took this long for the tides to happen? People were making nukes and using the song for warfare, but the reason why the tides happened was because capitalism took it too far? Which brings me on to the point that the tides are a communist force. The proof of this is Seltor. Seltor's great drowning was caused by their greed and corruption. You're telling me they got sunk for being capitalist? Also, how did the ministry make a great drowning happen? That's never really looked into, and it doesn't even really make sense. Unless, you know, that got retconned, like, you know, Alson's twin brother. Regardless, why did the ministry even have the ability to do that? Are you saying that the tides agreed to let them do that? Or the song gave them the ability to do that knowing that they're evil regardless? It doesn't make sense. which is why the tides are easily communist. But then again, this might have all just not happened because this game has more lore retcons than major updates. And also my communist tide theory is backed up by the fact that many of the Deepwoken dev team members are communists, such as Nactagonus. And although Nacti is cool, by communist, I mean that most of them abuse capitalism while believing communism is better. What I think is that the tide is a metaphor for the development team trying to punish capitalism and spread their communist agenda, ironically by using capitalism. Although I don't drink, it feels like I wasn't sober when writing this script because the following line just says insert Red Sea joke here, so I'm going to skim past that. And anyway, song overusage, not a thing anymore. In Deepwoken's new world, you can't overuse the song, but clearly they overused the song in Deepwoken's old world, which is what caused the tides. So what actually constitutes song overusage? Doesn't really make any of that clear. I guess it's a video game, so maybe using more ether than you have? I don't know. Anyway, let's just talk about the lore of Great Hive Aratel, which is also dumb. They have like 2,000 years of technological advances over Etris. Yaya Fino, one of the developers, even stated that the Hive has flying mechs with plasma cannons during one of the dev interviews.
I'm definitely gonna add the second generation Hive mech. Definitely want the flying Hive mech with plasma cannons.
So you go from the Isle's foot soldiers with iron swords to the Hive with gun lances and actual Gundam robots and one-to-one mechanical remakes of monsters like Sharkos, plasma cannons, and helicopters. This is never explained in the lore, with my best assumption being that since they harbor the last living NPC Ironsing users, they could have maybe allowed for them to have better technology than they realistically should for this time period. But what about the plasma cannons? Is there just like a plasma attunement we don't know about? I guess you could say that Dawnwalker is potentially plasma weaving of some sort because it's like you're shooting out light, you're shooting out photons. You could maybe make the argument that that is plasma being used in the attacks. But they don't have Dawnwalker users in the Hive, so that's not valid. And my last point is about the life system. Because of the way Archmage's character works and the lore in general, everyone is basically immortal. You can't ever actually die. You just really lose control of your character after they go down to a layer below too, because the depths goes down infinitely deeper in the lore. You just keep going below every layer until you go insane or something. I don't even know. Anyway, I kind of just want to complain about the lore now. First of all, it was entirely written in a Google Doc by multiple people with what I can only assume was minimal coordination, because depending on which developers you ask, the lore changes sometimes, and most of them don't even seem sure about it. They also base the content within the game around the lore instead of the other way around, which heavily limits what they can do for the sake of lore, which, you know, only a third of the community actually cares about. It's not really a bad thing, but the devs just seem to kind of care more about the lore of their game than the actual game, which is quite annoying at times, because then I have all the lore freaks in my comments saying guitars can't exist in the Deepwoken world because they are nukes. I don't care, I just want to play music. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Just know the video is mostly satire, so if you're one of those lore freaks who's gonna get mad in my comments and tell me why I'm wrong and stupid and brain dead, leave that comment anyway, because it actually boosts my recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed overall. This was just a funny little video. I wanted to talk about some of the dumb things in the Deepwoken lore, and how they retcon too much stuff, and how the devs, like, don't even know about the other devs' characters because they don't read the Google Doc that they made with the lore in it. If you couldn't tell by my voice, I'm a little bit sick, but that's just my throat. So I'll be better by the next video. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Have a great day, and goodbye.